cover them. The trucks were manned by a PMC, so they looked like civilian vehicles beside being armored variations of normal vehicles. Usually a small fire team would be tasked with security and the TERP. The rest of us had to put the clothing on and start a small patrol to relieve the other guards. In late 2007 we were woken up early and recalled to go to the facility 3 days earlier than our normal rotation. We bitched, got ready and headed out to get in the buses. This time around we arrived to a lot full of newer armored Humvees, told to shut the fuck up and get in. There were already drivers in each truck and off we went. The drivers drove in a tight group, which is unusual for convoy ops. They also didn't talk to us the entire ride. It's pitch black out and all you can see is blackness, but this is the first time we were allowed to see where we were going because the Humvee windows weren't blacked out like the buses. I'm trying to orient myself but can't see much beside the little red lights of the vehicle in front of mine. The windows are thick armored glass, so it's impossible to see anything in the nighttime desert with no illumination beside the convoys. We drive for a little over an hour and you can see a faint glow in the distance. We start to get closer and it's the facility that's on fire. The LT comes over our comms and realizes that anyone not wearing American DCU pattern MOPP4 is to be eliminated via deadly force. None of us are wearing MOPP gear. The drivers stop the vehicles and we're told to dismount and rally around a group of LMTVs that are waiting for us. They start calling out SSI numbers and handing out mopping gear that is already our sizes. My what the fuck is going off hard. NCOs come around and tell us to gear up. We start putting our mop gear and are abruptly told to stop and strip back down to our regular uniforms and take out our military ID cards, driver license, and any other form of photo identification on our person or gear. Little teams, a PMC, private military contractor, that is, Blackwater etc. start collecting and searching us. One guy would cut away our name tape, military branch tape and unit patches. Once they finished, another team of them would come by and try to find anything the first one missed. Lastly, our NCOs did the same thing to see if the first two missed anything. Officers start rallying up our NCOs for the OP order, operations order, which tells them what the plan is, and the rest of us are told to rally back up around another set of LMTVs, armored supply trucks like a newer Deuce and a half, and start unloading boxes filled with ammo, magazines, and newer NVGs than the ones we already had in our gear. These ones had a rail system that attached in behind our optics so we could wear a gas mask and still shoot and see in the dark. We're told to load as many magazines as possible and put the spares in our 3-day assault pack's fancy military 4 backpack. We already carried a basic load of 210 rounds and M9 pistols with 45 rounds in our ammo pouches on our IBA's individual body armor. We're taken over to another area to zero our weapons at a makeshift little range made of HESCO blast barriers. With my NVGs I can see that there is a security perimeter around us made up of PMCs. We shoot, zero, then rally back up to hear what the plan is. We are to provide personal security for a team of contractors and are to follow any and all direction from contractors unless it's basic combat tactical decisions. We start forming up into squads of 12 people, then break down 8 who will stay with the contractor, who will provide external security, and who will be clearing rooms. We then are briefed via rock drills, literally a fucking map made up of rocks and lines in dirt for which squads will assault at what entry points or defend entry points. We're leaving in platoon size about 5 squads and the rest of our normal security detail will provide overwatch with heavy weapons / marksmen on the external perimeter once we start to systematically clear the village underlying prison facility. After all that, a team of 3 contractors wearing those pressurized suits that push air outward when it rips join my fire team. I want to say they had DuPont logos on the suit itself, but I don't remember. We start to move toward our objective. The patrol there goes smoothly and we set up a perimeter and recon the area. Only a few buildings are still smoldering. The fire itself had gone out during all the bullshit of just gearing up. A majority of the village is intact. There are also bodies strewn about, but with the gas masks and only night vision it's hard to make out if they are insurgents or the guys we normally relieved wearing local clothing. There is a small IR beacon flashing at the base of one of the larger buildings and wants our team to shift to cover clear that building. Plans are adjusted and the assault begins. It is damn near impossible to move with all mob suit on. That combined with sweat pooling in my mask and low visibility is making something relatively complicated in itself even more difficult. Fire teams make progress to their respective areas. Our building is on the opposite side of the town, so it takes us a minute to get there. We bound and take positions, making it even more tedious as we move. I'm running to take up the next position and eat shit into the ground, landing on top of a body. The face is caved in and the gore gets all over my mask and suit. I notice he is armed with an M4, meaning he is American military, and there are shell casings and magazines strewn about his body. My guess is I'd lost footing when my foot hit the shell casings, and like marbles they made me slide and lose balance. The guy behind me bounds up and drags me up by my assault pack back up to my feet, and we continue. Small arms fire is going off sporadically but in controlled bursts, meaning that other teams are running into opposition but handling the situation. We arrive and stack up on our building and wait for the last team to get in place and set off 2 flashbangs to signal for all the building clearing teams to start. I'm covering my area of responsibility but can barely see shit with the sweat stinging my eyes and my inability to wipe it away because of the gas mask. The gunfire has quelled and the flashbangs echo throughout the village to signal the rest of us in first and as leadman in my fire team. I'm having trouble seeing in the darkness and the fucking mask is making it worse. I swing my weapon up and clear my area of responsibility. The rest of the fire team follows. First room clear, so I stack back up on the next door and wait to feel the pat on my back to assault the next room. My eyes are stinging at this point and I really can't see shit. All I'm hoping is some prick doesn't get the drop on me and I get lit up. Feel the slap on my gear, shove open door. I swing right and see a silhouette in the corner. He first cowers away from the light coming from my surefire flashlight, then rebounds. I can see if he has a weapon or not, but he starts to run toward me. Reach to squeeze the trigger, but the rubber from my mop gloves is caught on the trigger guard. Something so simple and quickly taken care of becomes an action long enough to get me killed. 2 shots go off and my ears are ringing. The third man in saw the threat and neutralized it. We start to stack on the next door after securing the assailant with flexi cuffs. Contractor comes in and tells us to stand by. Walks over and starts fucking with the dead body. What the fuck is this nigga doing? JPEG. Starts swabbing the mouth with Q-tips and prodding the body with other instruments. I can't really focus on what he is doing as I'm responsible not to get us killed if someone comes through the next door. The other 2 technicians come in and start consorting with the contractor. The head guy walks over to my fire team leader and tells us to stop clearing immediately and stand by. Contractor gets on his radio and starts relaying a message to his people. Sitting there waiting, letting whomever is waiting for us to get into position, cause they know we're there now, and every minute wasted is a minute for them to prepare for our entry. I'm getting antsy thinking about it and want to keep moving but can't until I'm told. Contractor's radio goes back off and he mumbles something into it, then addresses my fire team leader. We are told that anyone inside the facility is to be considered hostile and don't try to identify weapons, just shoot. I'm okay here, come War Crimes Tribunal.mp4. Contractor tells us to continue. Get to door, feel slap, rush in, room clear. This is the deepest into the building any of us has ever been. There is one last door with a keypad and badge reader. There is a dead guard in the corner with boils on his exposed skin / black blood pooled around him and his clothing soaked through his clothes. The contractor follows us in when we secure the body. He repeats the process again but doesn't call it in again. We wait in the room for a minute and wait for other fire teams to finish their way up to their respective entrances. Waiting, then one of our guys asks the contractor if we're supposed to shoot other American personnel. What a dumb question, I think, but then this prick looks at us and says, yes, anyone in this facility regardless of affiliation. What the fuck, I can't even believe I'm hearing this shit. Had it been our rotation instead of those guards, then the higher-ups would have just had us off too? With the downtime, I'm starting to connect the dots. Something illogical was in this place and now they are worried it will get out. My heart starts to race. I have blood on me. I'm wearing a shitty mop ensemble from some lowest bidder government contractor probably had made in fucking Puerto Rico. I'm starting to shake a little bit. My gas mask is starting to pulse on my face from the deep breaths I'm taking in, starting to freak out. How well did my buddy checks really check this fucking thing to make sure I'm sealed up right? I asked the contractor if I'm safe inside my mop gear. He responds yes nonchalantly. I yell at him that he has a fucking suit that looks it's out of the movie Outbreak, and that's easy for him to say. My leader tells me to chill the fuck out. I proceed to chill the fuck out. Other teams are ready. Contractor walks up to door and takes out restricted area badge, swipes it, then enters his pin. Door hisses loudly and retracts backwards with a hydraulic whir. Enter next room, sterile, one-way glass to my right, little corridor not really a room. Shove muzzle into one-way glass to break it in case someone is going to light me up from the other side. Muzzle makes contact and the solid glass doesn't even wobble. The shock hurts my wrist. Continue toward end of corridor, another keypad. Contractor does his thing. We assault into a long hallway with rooms on either side. Fucking room clearing nightmare. Contractor assures us all these doors are secure and walks ahead of us to a specific door. I can hear movement and voices inside the rooms, realize they are where the detainees are kept in cells. Contractor talks to leader. Contractor wants us to force cell extract the prisoner. We don't have any riot gear to do this, have to do it anyway. Stack up on door and he inputs a code to open it. Door unlocks. Rush in. My first step and I slip and am shoved forward by my teammates for the extraction. Am knocked out briefly, wake up back outside cell. I'm covered in blood and teammate is wiping blood off my face shield. Contractor is hovering over me and asks me to check the seal on my mask to make sure it didn't tear. Seal is fine, doesn't even ask if I'm alright, walks away, talks to sergeant. Look inside cell, covered in blood and vomit, detainee dead in the corner. Overhear contractor address one of the techs, tells them to stay out of the cell and that he was hoping we'd find him here and wouldn't have to go another block of the facility. Restart assault, and get to end of cell block, another keypad, inputs code and we go in. The room is round with a guard shack in the center of the circle room, cells align the entire room with another keypad door at the end. Some of the cells are unsecure with doors open. Vomit, blood, shit line the walls and floor. Gate shack is one-way glass, can't see inside. Hear beeping from inside, American steps out. None of us have the balls to kill him. I recognize him, one of the guys I normally relieve, but he is down here. He starts to babble, he doesn't recognize who we are behind the protective suits. Sees contractor, shuts up immediately. Contractor is waiting for us to react, I'm waiting for us to react, no one reacts. I lower my muzzle and look to sergeant for guidance, he just nods his head no. Contractor asks to speak with sergeant and two other techs, take opportunity to ask guard what happened, tell him my name, he remembers me from doing changeover. Relays that 4 days ago 5 of those fuckers came up and told us there was a riot going on that the guards inside were being overwhelmed by. Said that we didn't need suits like them, that it was a precaution. They lied, we need to get out of here man. Looking into his eyes notice they are bloodshot, his skin is yellow, gums pale, and he keeps rubbing his stomach. One of my guys starts talking to him, he turns